25-minute video about Thor. We'll see how long I go with it. But we bowl. I will preface this by Jenkins. There we go. And I will preface this by saying I have not seen too much in regards to Thor's content. I've seen like clips of him on YouTube, which were entertaining. The various clips that I've seen about Thor, they're perfectly fine. But the ones I saw, he seemed like he was a decent guy. Granted, I saw these clips some time ago. So I'm going into this really not knowing too much about him and his content, his opinions, beyond those clips that I've seen in the past.
Pirate Software will go down in history as one of the most spectacular downfalls the internet has ever seen. His Twitch viewership is a third of what it used to be. He's losing tens of thousands of—
Oh shit, hold up. Hold up. Jesus fuck! His average viewership dropped by 10,000 over the course of 7 months? Henry, fuck! That's insane. Hi, Nordic.
Tens of thousands of subscribers on YouTube every day, and worst of all, he's become the lolcow of the internet, with millions of people raking him over the coals for everything he says or does. And at this point, he has no one to blame but himself.
I cannot believe his ego. His ego is so out of control, I feel like he's only a week or two away from exclusively referring to himself in third person, like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, if you got Charlie on your ass, get on fucked up. Because Charlie's not going to go after you in this matter unless you've seriously fucked up.
And that's the truth, cause Pirate Software said so. Something like that. It's crazy.
He could have avoided this entire controversy with just 3 words: I was wrong. But his ego and arrogance got in the way of him admitting fault, turning him from a beloved and respected figure to one of the most hated personalities on the internet, all in a matter of days. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today, we're taking a look at how you've watched multiple of my videos and aren't yet subscribed. Just kidding. We're taking a look at the deserved downfall of Pirate Software, his monumental fall from grace, and how, even after losing—
And the funniest thing is, this I think primarily stems, he brought this attention on himself, I think from what I have heard, from his opposition to Stop Killing Games. Because he opposed it and refused to say that he was wrong, I think everybody just started dogpiling on him. Not only about dogpiling on him as a person, but I think this is what also spawned the, where people started looking at his code and calling his code shit. Yeah, this is basically the thing that once this happened, the floodgates just fucking opened. And everybody was coming at him from every different direction, personally, professionally, technologically. He's just been getting hit from all angles, from what I understand.
Everything is continuing to make the situation worse for himself.
I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted.
However, to fully grasp why the internet is so mad at Pirate Software, we have to understand what made him popular in the first place. Jason Hall, better known as Thor, originally started his career back in 2004 as a game developer for Blizzard, the company that made titles like
something apparently that he denies talking about, but there are literal supercuts of him talking about being a dev at Blizzard. I've seen the supercuts. He says, like, I don't talk about being a dev at Blizzard, and then that's followed with a literal supercut of him talking about being a dev at Blizzard, how he is the first second generation dev at Blizzard, and he talks about it all the fucking time, apparently.
World of Warcraft, and Overwatch. After leaving his job at Blizzard, he worked at Amazon Studio for a while, before quitting from there as well and becoming a hacker for the US government.
So after that, I ended up going to work for the United States Department of Energy because I'm a hacker, offensive security guy, and I hacked power plants for the federal government.
But after a year of doing his job, he resigned from there as well, and started working full-time on his indie game RPG named Heartbound in 2017. He also started
Which he's
doing
very
daily
proud
live
of.
streams under the name of his studio, Pirate Software, showcasing his game development process on Twitch. However, while Heartbound saw some success in its early days, even getting played by Jacksepticeye at one point, he was still relatively unknown on the internet. But then, in 2022, he made a small decision that would end up changing his life forever. On January 17th, 2022, Thor posted his first short video on YouTube titled Imposter Syndrome. It was a clip from one of his Twitch streams where he gave valuable advice to an inexperienced developer.
I don't wish to fail myself because I'm terrified of actually releasing something to the world I've worked on for over 3 years. Dear God, I am so terrified.
Hey, Thornstar, that feeling never goes away. It never does. I am constantly afraid to release every single piece of content I ever work on this game. I am constantly afraid to get onto stream and, like, not be, you know, whatever it is that people expect me to be. I am constantly afraid that I'm going to create content that no one wants to hang out with, that no one wants to look at, no one wants to care about. And that's just how that is. The thing is you can't stop. You shouldn't stop.
This ended up being
And those are the kind of clips of his that I've seen in the past. Just little clips of people TTSing him and him offering some encouragement. That's basically where my familiarity with Thor ends, is, seeing those clips where people talk to him and he seems to give heartfelt, valuable advice. That advice he was just talking about with imposter syndrome, I resonate with that. That's something I resonate with as a streamer, is that kind of fear is with me. It actually is with me because I constantly worry, like, am I going to be entertaining when I go on stream? Are people that come to my streams going to enjoy themselves? Are my streams going to be of a nature where I can continue to build a community, to build a viewership? And so, like, something like that resonates with me, and that kind of thing is all I know. Him offering that kind of advice like that.
a bigger success than he could have ever imagined, amassing over 850,000 views to date. More importantly, this short became a fantastic first impression for all these new viewers, who now saw him as someone exceptionally wise and intelligent. After seeing the potential of short-form content, Thor went all in on this new format and started posting shorts almost daily, and it wasn't long before they were picked up by the YouTube algorithm. As a result, Thor became a regular presence on the YouTube homepage for anyone even slightly interested in game development, bringing in millions of new viewers almost overnight. People also loved almost everything about his content, from his behind-the-curtain knowledge of game development.
Most publishers want 30 to 70% of your income from your game. 30 to 70%. Some of them want 100% upfront until they recoup their costs of marketing your game.
And random tips and tricks.
Take your mouse, and you put your mouse inside of MS Paint, and then you hold spacebar, and then you use the arrow keys, you can draw like an Etch-a-Sketch.
To his odd and often amusing opinions.
See, it's these little shorts. If you were to only see these little shorts, they'd be fun.
Ember, your effort in building a community shows with the effort you put into your streams.
Thank you, Gray Matter. I'm trying. I am trying the best I can. But thank you. Yeah, it's these little clips. They're fun. They're cute. They're a little bit informative. Cute little tips and tricks. That's how I know. That's how I knew. And from what you guys are saying, his streams are a whole different bucket.
They mixed Dr. Pepper and beans. They mixed Dr. Pepper and beans. Do they taste like Dr. Pepper? Hell yeah, they do. And they're amazing. They are delicious.
As a fan comment under one of his first YouTube streams
Apparently,
states,
Spike.
Thor, wow, first I've heard of you was yesterday from the shorts. You were everything I've been looking for in terms of knowledgeable game dev, storyteller, and straight up kind human. Keep it up, badass.
Stop it.
The popularity of his content on YouTube also translated into his Twitch viewership skyrocketing past any expectations he might have had. It reached a point where he broke the Twitch hype train record 4 different times, and gained over 80,000 paid subscribers on the platform. By 2024, Thor's career had reached an all-time high. Millions of fans eagerly consumed everything he released, and the vast majority held him in very high regard. As a thankful viewer puts it, this is the most motivating and helpful individual I've found in the game dev space. And that's saying quite a lot, as most devs are so helpful and encouraging. This man makes me feel like my dreams are within my grasp, and that's so rare to find.
And undoubtedly, that's where his popularity came from. Is the clips I'd seen of him is always him encouraging fledgling and rookie game developers. He's always appeared to be very encouraging, very supportive in his clips, which of course gives the impression that he is that kind of person. Whereas, which is why there's also a fallacy behind the clips, is you are seeing, and you get, this is a part of why I don't post a lot of clips, and why when I post my videos, I'm posting full segments, like full React segments. Because when I post my stuff onto YouTube, I do it for the purpose of, I want people to see what my stream is like. That if you are watching my YouTube video, this is the kind of content you can expect on my stream. Instead of just like a 3 or 5 minute clip where it's like you're getting this tiny little snippet of what my content is. That's not what I want. I don't want to like either intentionally or unintentionally trick anyone into thinking this is what happens on my stream. And that's why I primarily just post the large React segments. Because when you see these clips, you might get a disingenuous viewpoint of what the entire stream is like, which apparently is the case in this one. And hi, Tysell.
He was on track to become one of the legendary figures of online gaming, right alongside the likes of Jacksepticeye and Markiplier. But then, 2025 rolled around, and a single livestream nearly shattered the trust and support Thor had spent years building.
I didn't play well. Other people in the group didn't play well. They pinned it on me. That's it. There was one of the players that was very vocal about saying it was all my fault, and then the rest of the community rallied around it. And now it's become a content play for people to pick at me, and that's kind of it.
It all started on January 12th, 2025, when Thor...
Oh, this is... Okay, I think I heard about this incident. This is the Warcraft incident, right? Where it was, what? It was a hardcore match. It was a hardcore game. And didn't he... And he basically, like... I heard... Granted, I watched the video and I had no fucking clue what I was looking at because I don't play World of Warcraft. So I think I missed a lot. I know what hardcore mode is in World of Warcraft. That part I'm familiar with. Your character dies, your account's gone, you're starting from scratch. That's that part I knew about. I didn't get a lot of the context and nuance when I actually saw the gameplay footage because I don't play World of Warcraft. So I didn't understand why people were hating on him so much, what the reason was. It didn't make any sense to me. So hopefully that gets explained here.
Decided to stream a hardcore World of Warcraft raid with other streamers and veteran players. At one point during the raid, the situation became dire, and instead of helping his teammates in any way, Thor decided to run away. This resulted in 2 other players' characters dying, which for those of you who aren't familiar with World of Warcraft hardcore, this means that those characters were now lost forever. The players would have to grind the game for weeks to get back to the same level again. But rather than admitting fault or even showing remorse, Thor decided to be arrogant about it and put all the blame on others.
Just you're angry right now. Of course I
Don't-
ran.
don't be
You
angry.
pulled-
I'm not
you-
angry at
you,
all.
you overpulled 2 packs. You overpulled 2 packs and a boss. I had 1,400 mana left. I had to spend all of that mana to try and put it on Blizzard to save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't paying attention to party resources. You overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me.
This showed the egotistical side
Okay. A lot of that was gobbledygook for me. So, people that are familiar with World of Warcraft, please explain. Was his explanation legitimate? Or was his explanation bullshit? Like, was he in the right on this? Or was he very much in the wrong, like people say? Okay, I'm getting very conflicting opinions. I see mostly legitimate. I'm seeing hell no, it was bullshit. Wait. Okay, Victor, I did put up 2 things. Which part are you saying is bullshit? He had 20 mana left and pots that could recover his mana. Okay, so you're saying he had pots that could recover his mana. He had waste recover his mana. It was legit, but he took it in the wrong direction. His tank decided to pull more than Pyro can manage and deal with. Okay. So I'm seeing conflicting here. But okay, but Jason pulled the enemies, not his team. Okay. So I am seeing conflicting, but I am seeing some defense on him.
If you know the stakes are account deletion and you die, don't be mad when your luck runs out.
Okay. All right, so I'm seeing some conflicting opinions on this. And people, so he had pots, and people do forget that run was called, but later revoked. Aha. Okay. All right. And let me also point this out. I am going to point this out, and this is kind of sideways from the entire thing. Who is in the wrong? Who is in the right? Who took actions that they should have? Who didn't take actions that they should have? Let's put all of that aside. Okay? Leave us not forget, in the end, this is a game. Leave us not forget that in the end, this is a game. This was not like a tournament of sorts where there was money on the line. The only thing that was on the line was time if your character died. Let's not forget about that. So in that respect, yeah, it's getting way blown out of proportion that people are getting this pissed off about a game, about a raid, where there was no real money on the line, only time. Yeah, it's years and decades of effort. Yeah, that is part of the risk when you go into a Warcraft, a hardcore mode. This is still a game. It's still a game. Okay, let's take another example. If I had some kind of a hardcore mode in Elite, and I've got my ship built up, I spent time grinding, to get all my engineering, to get all of my, power play weapons, and I built up my ship perfectly, and I decided to do a hardcore mode, where if I were to get killed in a Hazres, I would have to delete my account and start from scratch. And bear in mind, I've spent years building some of my ships, grinding for stuff and rebuilding my ships. And I would have to delete my profile if I died. And I died because some of my wingmates didn't cover my back the way I thought they did, or there was miscommunication or something. You know what? I'd be upset, sure. I'd be upset that I lost all that progress and I have to start from scratch. It's not worth creating a fucking firestorm on the internet about. You get pissed off and you go, God damn it, you maybe say something to blow off the steam that you're feeling because you're pissed off because now you have to start from scratch again. And that's it. There's no reason to turn this into a fucking internet dog pile. So in that respect of that alone, this feels like it's getting blown way the fuck out of proportion. In the respect of this is a game, you're just losing time. And that's it. As far as all the other stuff, I can't speak to because I'm not a World of Warcraft aficionado. But that is my opinion. And Victor, I fully appreciate that. We're only at the beginning stages of this tale. So I am taking that into account that this was not an isolated incident.
Of Thor that admittedly was already present in his content.
It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is
Here we
awful.
go.
That is a horrible goddamn direction.
But his fans didn't
Here
pay
we
much
go.
attention to it, since till this point, Thor was seen as a passionate, talented developer who genuinely cared about the gaming community, so his occasional cockiness was written off as confidence rather than a red flag. However, even after getting called out by other streamers,
What the hell, man? Why not just apologize?
Like I said, huge pirate fan, love the content. This is not the look.
Thor did not budge, and even doubled down.
Yeah.
Wants me to sit down, grovel on my knees, and be like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Yamato. It was all my fault, the mage. I won't do it again. I'm so sorry that tank overpulled 2 packs and a boss. Oh man, oh god. Next time I'll save you from the big mean 2 packs and a boss that tank pulled. Are you kidding me, dude?"
This incident put his behavior into a completely different light. While this
Yeah.
controversy faded away in a few weeks, it formed the first crack in Thor's impeccable online reputation, and it's only been downhill from there. But to fully understand the controversy that's killing Thor's career, we have to go back in time to the end of 2023.
I mean, yeah, I will agree that his response to this, you know, if you want to say like, oh, someone else pulled two stacks of enemies plus a boss, and that was their fault, that's fine. You don't have to be a dick about it. You know, the smart thing would have been like, okay, he made his case at the time of the incident. He made his case then, fine. He can make his case then. To continue to go off on it and not simply just tell his chat that may have brought it up. Just go, you know what? It happened. Let's move on. Let's leave it behind. The fact that he would not leave it behind is it. He doesn't even have to say, well, he wouldn't even necessarily just have to say, yeah, if I messed up, I'm sorry, move on. He could just say, you know what? It happened. We dealt with it at the time. Let's move on. I honestly don't think he would have even needed to tangentially admit fault in any way. He could just said, it's over, it's done with, we addressed at the time, we're moving on. That's it. If he'd done that, he probably would have been in a better space. The fact that he kept harping on it and was doing that fucking voice of acting like he was mocking it, that's not doing any favors. Not at all is that doing him any favors.
That's killing Thor's career, we have to go back in time to the end of 2023. On December 14th, 2023, Ubisoft announced that it would be shutting down the servers for its multiplayer racing game called The Crew in April of 2024. However, unlike many other multiplayer games, where an internet connection is only needed for playing against others online, The Crew required players to be online at all times. In other words, Ubisoft shutting down the servers meant that players would no longer be able to access the game they paid for. This also meant losing access to the game's single-player campaign, which should have been fully offline. This sparked intense online backlash, as players felt like they were being robbed of the game they paid for with their hard-earned money.
Which they were. With this sparking incident, they were. The single-player game should not have needed an online connection. And I fully agree with the people that were like, that started the Stop Killing Games movement, because if they wanted to remove the server so you couldn't do an online game with other people, it's fine, that happens. We've seen that happen many a time. But there should have been an offline availability. The single player mode should not have required the online availability. And 100% I agree with it. And yes, Nubis, I know there's the whole thing about technically you don't own any game. Any game you purchase, you don't own. You're paying a license. Ironically enough, I don't know if you're aware of this, but for ebooks through Amazon, if you purchase an ebook from Amazon, it's the same thing. Purchasing an ebook from Amazon, you are not through like an ebook now, not a physical copy, obviously, but an ebook, you are not actually purchasing that book. You are purchasing a license, an unlimited use license from Amazon to read that book. And at any time, Amazon can kill that book so it is no longer available and can actually remove it from you because all you have purchased is a license to that book. Just an interesting little fact when it, that kind of dovetails off of the gaming industry. The same thing does apply to ebooks. That is why I made all of my books available as ebooks and print copies. I made sure that both were available. Oh, you have ads, Kevin? Okay, I will keep yapping. I know you're heartbroken. I'll keep yapping. But yes, every book that I have listed on Amazon is available as a Kindle, as an ebook, which you can purchase or read through the Kindle Unlimited program. I made every book available for the Kindle Unlimited program, and I also made sure that physical copies are available for purchase for every book that I have published. So that's one reason why, especially when I found out that Amazon is only licensing the ebooks and not purchasing the ebooks. That's why I made sure that physical copies were available for every book I published. Yes, Reaper, I've published like 13 books. They're all on Amazon. There should be a link to my author page in the About section of the stream. I'm pretty sure I think that's there. I thought I put on Kick. Someone at Kick can verify if it's on my bio in Kick as well. But yes, I've got all the books are available for purchase through the link in my bio. Reaper, a couple of them. Yes, there's a particular book series, because I've written several series. Yes, a couple of them are indeed lewd. Yes, they are. And Fatal, thank you for the gifted.
What made the situation even worse was that this wasn't the first game to shut down like this, and it was clear it wouldn't be the last. So to fight back against greedy publishers, Ross from Accursed Farms spent months creating a potential solution.
But now we have a new option, proposing new law, and for the entire European Union. It took months to get put together and processed, but now we have a European Citizens Initiative devoted to halting the destruction of video games. You can read it yourself. This would require publishers to leave games they have sold to customers in a working state at the time of shutdown, without requiring any further connection to them or affiliated parties for the games to function.
This solution
Which is a
took
good
the form
idea.
of a petition, which, unlike the largely useless Change.org petitions, had actual legal weight. If this petition reached 1 million signatures, lawmakers in the EU were legally required to discuss the matter in an official setting. And if passed, this new law would require game makers to ensure that their games are still playable after they stop supporting them.
We're just trying to stop games from being destroyed. That's it. So we're taking as narrow an approach as possible that still solves the problem. If we get enough signatures, then this goes before the European Union to be considered as new law.
This would be a net positive outcome for gamers around the
It
world.
would. Absolutely it would.
Unfortunately, this initiative had one major weakness right from the get-go, and that was Ross's reach. You see, his subscriber count was just a third of the number of signatures needed to make this a success. And since he's based in the US, most of these subs weren't eligible.
Oh, Elby Rhyme? I thought that the last day for the initiative had already passed. Does anybody know what the signature count is on that initiative? I know it was really fucking close the last I'd heard a week or two ago. Does anybody know offhand what the signature count is on Stop Killing Gates? Out of curiosity. 1.5 million. So they did it. So over 1.4, so they cleared that 1 million mark, and it's going to actually go before the EU Council. Out fucking standing. I am so happy to hear about that. That is fantastic.
eligible EU citizens either. So to counteract this weakness, Ross called out other creators and asked them to spread the word about this initiative. He even made himself available for any interviews or follow-up discussions.
If you're watching this, you may be a critical link in all this. Because you can tell other YouTubers, streamers, etc. about this initiative, and maybe they'll pick it up. Now, I'm offering myself for interviews, publicity on this issue, whatever, to almost anyone with a European audience of some size.
And that's where Thor entered the picture. He came across the
Oh,
Stop
here we
Killing
go.
Games initiative in August of 2024. Now, given his history of speaking in favor of the gamers and developers, and against greedy publishers, people naturally expected him to throw his full support behind the campaign.
Of course.
However, this couldn't have been further from the truth.
Now, this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is it's not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to.
Not only did he dislike the idea of Stop
Oh,
Killing
boy.
Games, his choice of words was harsh to say the least.
That is awful. That is a horrible direction. That's awful, dude. Now, eat my entire ass. The level.
Okay. I hope in this video we get an explanation of why he was so heavily against this. Because calling him a used car salesman and saying that it's dog shit, it sucks ass, eat my whole ass. Like, why? I want to know why he's so against this. Because I don't think I actually know. I don't think I ever got an explanation as to why he was so vehemently against this. Keep in mind, Thor built in always online DR and Heartbound as well as anti-piracy measure. Right, Cortez, that part I know about. He's got a feature in Heartbound that it has to constantly be connected to Steam because it has features based on like medals you have achieved, which is recorded through Steam. So yeah, it's that I can see that being one part of it why he doesn't like it. Because a core component of his game is his connection to the Steam award system.
The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours.
We don't have a George Takei TTS, so I'll say it as Lola. Thor, you are made of stupid.
Very nice.
This sucks. That's a really stupid move. That's an incredibly stupid move. I think this is complete garbage. All of this can eat then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire.
This was a shock to many of his viewers, so
Oh,
Thor
boy.
published 2 full videos to clarify his point of view further. And while these videos saw plenty of pushback from fans who were flabbergasted by his decision to oppose
Being a former Blizzard developer means he doesn't need to be self-aware.
I don't know. He has seemed to lean quite heavily on I was a former Blizzard developer. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, he's got there's the supercuts of that.
what they saw as something good, it ultimately resulted in the Stop Killing Games movement receiving significantly less support than it would have if Thor supported it as well. You have to remember.
Yeah, wait, Tysell? Yeah, that's the crux of it. I'm wondering, like, is he taking it like, okay, that if Stop Killing Games goes through, then that means that developers have to maintain servers even when they're done with it. When my understanding is Stop Killing Games was all about, like putting in something, getting something in place that when the time comes to sunset the game and to shut down the servers, people who own the game or purchase the game have an offline mode available to them so they can continue to play the game without requiring the online connection. Even if the game itself was primarily like an online game, it was a live service game, that the requirement be that when the company finally decides to shut down the servers, there is something in place that the game can be played offline. That was the impression that I always got as the reasoning behind Stop Killing Games. Not that the companies we have to maintain a private server for the game after they stop developing or whatever. No, just have something in place that when it's time to finally sunset all support on the game, including servers, people can still play it offline of some nature. But at the same time, or give them the option to run it on their own private servers. Sure. Okay. That's kind of the impression that I always got.
Receiving significantly less support than it would have if Thor supported it as well. You have to remember that this was all before the World of Warcraft hardcore fiasco. Back then, the broader gaming community still viewed Thor as a beacon of insight and authority.
This happened before the World of Warcraft had set. Okay, this is starting to make a little more sense now.
In game development, Ross tried to combat the negative reception by publishing a FAQ video to clear any misconceptions about Stop Killing Games. Unfortunately, this wasn't as effective as he would have liked, resulting in Stop Killing Games losing all momentum and essentially becoming dead on arrival. Is 2025, and turning an idea into an online business needs to be lightning fast. So Odoo's e-commerce tool gets a store live and profitable in minutes. Big thanks to Odoo for sponsoring this video. Odoo is an all-in-one management platform that gives entrepreneurs everything they need, from invoicing and accounting to inventory, project management, website creation, and more. With Odoo's e-commerce builder, you can launch an online store fast. The built-in configurator
you're
asks
absolutely
a few
right.
questions, then an
They're
AI
just
drafts
trying
your
to
entire
open the
site,
door for
menus, and
discussion.
product catalog
It's
skeleton.
not their
After
job
that, you just
to
drag and drop
facilitate
content
law. That's the
blocks,
job
tweak
of the
fonts and
lawmakers.
colors, and
You're
your
absolutely
storefront
right.
is ready. Adding products is just as smooth. Create an item, drop a name and price, then dress it up with images, descriptions, and any layout you like. Need variants or bundles, one click and they appear.
Leo, he
is
may say
equally
something
simple.
at
Enter
the
your
end of the
VAT
video.
number, bank account, and
We're not
invoice
done.
template,
We're only about
choose
halfway
shipping
through.
methods and payment providers, hit save, and your store is officially open for business. Here's the best part. Your first Odoo app is
Really,
free for
Euro?
life,
That
including
sucks.
unlimited hosting, support, and even a custom domain for a year. Since Odoo's website and invoicing apps connect automatically, you can run your entire online store without paying a cent until you scale. And extra apps start from just $24.90 USD per user per month. Ready to turn that idea into revenue? Click the link below and launch your e-commerce store with Odoo today. That being said, let's get back into the video. For the next 10 months, it looked like, despite Ross's good intentions, his initiative was doomed to fail spectacularly. But then, he did something that no one saw coming. On June 22nd, 2025, Ross uploaded an hour-long video titled "The End of Stop Killing Games," talking about the disappointing state of the petition.
The European Citizens Initiative failing kind of stings. Again, this one is crazy powerful, but the hurdle we just couldn't get past was that it requires 1 million signatures from citizens of EU countries. And we've only made it just under halfway.
And after thanking many of the creators that voiced their support for their campaign, he shifted his focus towards the elephant in the room, the one creator whose coverage was straight up poisonous for the initiative, Thor.
This video came out right as we were building momentum, then except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork.
Ross also revealed why he didn't make a direct response to Thor until now.
This put me in kind of a no-win scenario too. Because if I ignored it, then a lot of people are going to get misinformed about the campaign. But if I did a response video, which is not something I wanted to do anyway, then it might look like drama farming, which could understandably turn off a lot of people from the campaign, because it's not about that at all. So I quickly made this video trying to clear up all misconceptions and concerns about the initiative, with timestamps for everyone's questions, hoping the truth would eventually come out. I can see now that was a mistake. I should have just embraced the drama.
At this point, Stop Killing Games was already on track to be a failure, so this video was one last push from Ross to make a difference. Surprisingly, this worked better than anyone could have ever expected, and one big reason for that was what Ross revealed about Thor, because as it turned out, Thor misunderstood and misrepresented the whole thing.
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not want to run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
Yeah. You fucked that one up big time. That is a, like, even being on the outside, only knowing kinda sorta about this whole thing, Yeah. That is completely incorrect and not what anybody's saying. Thor is making it sound like if a game company puts out a game that's live service, they are tied to that live service game until the company goes under. That is completely misrepresentative of the entire point of Stop Killing Games. And it's a boneheaded take indicating that someone did not actually read what Stop Killing Games does. He kind of played himself on that and showcased that he didn't actually read, nor does he care about the initiative. He just wanted to dunk on it because I'm a former Blizzard dev. Yeah, he kind of fucked himself on that one. And hi, Minstrel. How's it going?
Oh no! He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters. That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out.
And Ross was having none of it.
And that sounds like, and from the look of it, Thor basically said, I reject your reality and substitute my own. That's what it sounds like Thor did. He wanted to basically sit on his high horse as King Dev and say, I know this movement better than the very people that actually created it, and this is the abject reality. Let's ignore the fact that it is my own reality and has nothing to do with actual reality. It's like it's like someone in MySpace commenting on, like, doing a react to something and commenting on it when they don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. And not going with the codicil of, okay, I don't know much about this, but from the sound of it, it sounds like this. But also admitting there's a possibility I could be misinterpreting this and I could be mistaken about it. Thor didn't do that. Thor just said, I know what I'm talking about better than the very people that wrote this up, and this is how it really is because I am Thor. That's the impression he is giving with his statement in this. But especially when when he's counteracting the very thing that it has on the screen behind him.
This part hurts. To see the biggest voice on this issue get it wrong again and again and again, then put that same wrong information on blast to a far bigger audience than we can reach. It hurts. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand what we're asking for.
He even called out the clear contradiction Thor made in his own argument just seconds apart.
I think live service games getting sunsetted is fine. I've always thought that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I have no problems with the end of a video game.
See, I wish he started his big YouTube video with that message instead of deleting it. Instead, he presented himself as pro-preservation and not wanting the medium to die out.
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so their medium doesn't die out. And it never will. And that's the whole intention of all of this.
So he doesn't want games to die out, except he's fine with that. I think there's some cognitive dissonance going on there.
This video showed that Thor's distaste for the Stop Killing Games initiative is based on complete misinterpretations, which in turn called his credibility as an experienced and knowledgeable developer in question. However, before Thor had even a chance to respond, Ross's new video reached the one man who could bring this issue to a mainstream audience.
There we
And there is
go.
an initiative that has been aiming to fight back.
By the way, side note, is this not the perfect image to represent Charlie? Internet Anarchist could not have chosen a better image to introduce Charlie into this whole fucking conversation. This is it right here. Yeah, this is Florida man this is Florida Jesus in all his glory. Right fucking here. I love it.
Charlie.
And there is an initiative that has been aiming to fight back against a lot of these practices that I think really need some big overhaul. Stop destroying things that people have paid money.
Yes, he is Gore.
I think that is a very understandable, very reasonable take. Very agreeable.
And he called out Thor's incorrect interpretation of the initiative as well.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right. He missed all the QTEs and got the bad ending on understanding the initiative from the jump here. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single-player only games that require an online connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. Like, yeah, that is included in all of this, but that's not, like, what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, Pirate Software is stun-locked on that, like, fixated, as if that is the actual, like, meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. They need to be more specific in their language about it being single-player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting.
This video from Charlie was a godsend for Stop Killing Games, as it exposed the idea to over 3.4 million people. More importantly, it highlighted Thor's flawed take and the damage it did to an otherwise positive movement. Following Charlie's video, several other creators also came forwards with their support for the initiative, including Jacksepticeye, the Actman, PewDiePie, and many more. The story
Okay, not quite sure all of those are the big wins that they might think. Jacksepticeye, sure. PewDiePie, okay. Is PewDiePie even really that big anymore? And Actman, I know there's a lot of... I believe there's a lot of people who are not all that... I don't know, does Actman still have a measure of authority in the gaming space? I thought a lot of people really didn't like the way he just basically flip-flopped whichever way the wind blew. That's kind of something I heard about him, is that no matter, depending on which way the wind blows, he kind of just flip-flops. Like Jacksepticeye, yeah, is big. I haven't actually heard anything about PewDiePie recently, so PewDiePie is still very big. Okay, I was just curious. I don't keep up with a lot of these guys in the space. I'm kind of in my own little sphere here, so I don't keep up with them.
was also picked up by countless commentary YouTubers, resulting in Thor once again receiving pushback for his opposition of Stop Killing Games. But unlike last time, where it sort of fizzled out within weeks, the backlash wasn't showing any signs of slowing down. He started losing subscribers and followers across all platforms, and everything he did online got flooded with dislikes and angry comments, like, essentially, you will own nothing and be happy. I reject that. Achievement unlocked, being wrong on all levels.
By the way, am I wrong? Am I thinking of someone else? Was Thor not also the one who made the argument when it came out, like, you know, about, I think it was Ubisoft CEO saying people should be comfortable not owning their games? Was it Thor that actually came out and said, if you can't own, you know, if you're not allowed to own the games, then pirating a game is not wrong? Was that, excuse me, was that Thor that did that? I can't, I thought he was the one that did that, but I can't recall. He has made statements like that? Okay, yeah, so if you're not allowed to own your games, then pirating the games is not illegal, or something like that. I'm misquoting, but it was in that vein. It was in that vein, I think. Okay.
Many of these commenters were even his own loyal fans, who now saw him as a corporate shill more than a genuinely well-intentioned developer. As a casual follower ever since the beta release of Heartbound, this is extremely disappointing to watch. The backlash was so overwhelming that it seemed like nothing he said could soften the blow or calm the outrage. However, that's not true. He still had a chance to retain some of the trust his viewers had put in him. All he had to do was admit fault, apologize, and support the Stop Killing Games initiative. But knowing Thor, that was never going to happen. Just as he did after the hardcore World of Warcraft incident, Thor decided to double down here as well and stick to his stance, regardless of how wrong he was.
Yes, I should. Okay. If buying is not owning them, piracy is not stealing. Thank you. Okay, if that's the quote, thank you, Giggle Flinch. I could not, for the life of me, I could not remember the exact quote, but I guess that's it.
Stating, for those that will scream his doubling down, yes, I well am. I give about this initiative and what it means for games, developers, and players in the future. Near the end of this tweet, he also stated, "Just because I don't support this doesn't mean you should blindly follow me in that. Just because I said pretty words on the internet, you also shouldn't blindly bash me because some other creator said to. Watch the videos I put out, read the initiative, decide for yourself, apply critical thinking, and don't outsource it to others."
Dude, people did. You called the guy posting the initiative a used car salesman. You said it's dog shit and it's ass, and that anybody that disagrees with you can eat all of your ass. And you blatantly misrepresented the initiative on your screen with the initiative on the screen behind you. Your entire statement here means fucking nothing. They're calling shit out on you. And they're calling you out on this. And you're just saying, well, just because I said something doesn't mean you have to listen to it. It's like, dude, it's not that simple. You are not offering an informed opinion. You are blatantly misrepresenting what you were talking about. This is not the same thing.
Completely disregarding the responsibility he had as a creator that millions looked up to at one point. Not to mention, this also went against what he said in his initial reaction.
This is it's not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to.
This attitude only angered the internet more, forcing him to step away from off-brand games, the game studio Ludwig founded with his friends. However, Thor couldn't help but turn this into a source of embarrassment as well. You see, he announced his leave in a tweet, reading, "I'm no longer working at off-brand games. People were attacking all of the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. But when people checked the games published by off-brand games, they didn't find a noticeable uptick in negative reviews. In other words, Thor straight up lied about his reasoning for leaving the studio."
And he pulled out the corporate bullshit that so many corporations that had games that bombed pulled out, claiming
So that was a
lie. Basically doing the same doing the same gaslighting all of the gaming industries have done, saying we got review bombed. When they didn't get review bombed, their game was just shit. And here he's claiming these games are being review bombed, but as Internet Anarchist has pointed out here, there's no increase in those negative reviews that he's claiming is present.
He could have simply been honest and admitted that he was stepping away to prevent any backlash from hitting the studio, which had nothing to do with his personal opinions, but his ego—
No, Tysel, you misunderstand. I'm not referring to the specific games that were put out by Thor's former company. That's not what I was referencing. I was doing a comparison to the big AAA studios that when they put out dog shit games and people hate them, they make the claim of we're being quote unquote reviewable. I was not referencing Thor's former game company on that one. I was not saying that they weren't saying that. Yeah, misunderstanding, no problem.
From hitting the studio, which had nothing to do with his personal opinions, but his ego wouldn't let him. Instead, he chose to lie and ended up getting caught red-handed. That said, all the hate towards Thor did have the positive effect of making the Stop Killing Games movement go viral. This has resulted in it not only reaching its goal within days, but shooting past it with over 200,000 more at the time of writing. Thor, however, still cannot admit defeat. After the petition reached its goal, he made a tweet that contained a mixture of denial and boasting at the same time, stating, "The most interesting narrative is that my video somehow killed the initiative. This graph showed that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did though. Best of luck with your next steps." And as expected from him at this point, he was completely wrong once again. The graph he shared showed the lifetime signatures for the petition. If we zoom into the first 2 months instead, we can clearly see the momentum fall off a cliff the second Thor reacted to Stop Killing Games on his stream. As for his line about becoming the quote villain, Charlie had some necessary feedback on that.
I cannot believe his ego. His ego is so out of control, I feel like he's only a week or two away from exclusively referring to himself in third person, like Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin. and that's the truth because pirate software said so. Some like that. It's crazy how he's responded. The smugness is nails on a chalkboard. It just makes you feel icky listening to it.
Even when he's trying to back down, he can't help but create more drama.
I have been called a zoo, corporate plant, degenerate, narcissist, nepo baby, and many other names. And they attacked all the accomplishments over my life, despite physical evidence to prove to the contrary. And they also went after every job I ever held, trying to say that I never worked them, or if I did work them, that I never deserved them. So I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted.
There, and he did that. Like, seriously, if he had just said, if he had literally, he wouldn't have even had to admit that he was wrong. This is the crazy part. He did. Realistically, I don't think he even needed to admit that he was wrong in this. If he had just toned down his rhetoric that he was spewing, and just basically just said, when all of this resurgence happened, if he just said, I still don't agree with it, but I wish you luck with it, that would have been enough. He could have not even said I was wrong. That's the crazy part. Even though he was, he didn't actually have to admit that he was wrong. He still could have stuck to his guns and just simply said, I still don't agree with it, but I do wish you luck with the endeavor. He would still maintain his position that he thought he was right and he doesn't agree with stop killing games, but it would have just been like, it still would have been at least okay, and he would not have caught this much flack for it. But I guess he just couldn't help himself. His ego would not allow him to help himself. Oh, yeah, I mean, Fishrock, I am not defending the people that have gone after him and doxed him, doxed his mods. I am in no way defending that. Not in any way, shape, or form. Okay? The people that are attacking him, doxing him, calling him a predator, calling him a rapist, a pedophile, whatever, I'm not defending that. Not even close. Not even in the same fucking universe. It's the same. I feel about that the same way I feel about whenever we are discussing someone who is an asshole, and I tell you guys, don't go after don't go after the people. Don't ever attack someone. Don't ever brigade someone. So no, I'm not defending the people that attacked him like that in any way. I'm not.
He's an egomaniac and an idiot, not a monster.
There you go, Leo. That's the best way to put it. And like, I can appreciate that his frustration, that he got frustrated, and that's what caused him to say that. Like, I hope you get everything you ask for and nothing that you want. I can appreciate that he was at a level of frustration because of these really intense attacks. That's why he said it. But he could have avoided getting those attacks in the first place if his responses to his video, his stream that he did where he talked about stop killing games and didn't like it. Number one, he could have changed up his language so he wasn't saying he's a used car dealership, it's a piece of shit, it's dog shit, eat every part of my ass, etc., etc., etc. He definitely could have changed up his verbiage on that and simply just said, no, I don't agree with it, here's why, instead of basically using the more colorful language. But even after that, if he hadn't continued to basically double and triple down on shit time and time again afterwards, he probably could have gotten away with, okay, you had a really bad fucking take on it. And he still could have said, I still stand by my opinion, but I do wish you the best luck. And he would have been fine. Basically, his ego was writing checks that his stream could not cash and that his YouTube channel could not cash. That, in the end, is what this is all about.
Actively saying that what Stop Killing Games is asking for is not what gamers want, and somehow he's the only one who knows this. Which makes sense when you consider the fact that even Dr. K, a trained psychologist, recognized Thor as a highly arrogant person.
I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality, it's this.
Yeah.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
At the end of the day, Thor is simply too far gone. He had months to set things right, but he didn't, because in his mind, he could never be wrong. Now, that egotistical viewpoint has become the reason for his disastrous yet deserved down.
Yeah, exactly. Moose, Silver, exactly. What if Silver, you are quoting me and I love you for it. Context is key. Absolutely. Context is key. And, well, I'm not going to get into psychology of this because I am not a psychology professional. But, yeah. People may need context for him sometimes, and for him to say, like, okay, I want to explain something, so there's context to it. He didn't put it that way, unfortunately, and thus he showcases arrogance. But also, he is failing to get the appropriate context for what he is talking about, too. So, context is a beautiful thing. Absolutely. And Tornado, I suspect Internet Anarchist will. But we've got some time before he talks about that. We've got a ways to go.
Full, leaving him with two options for the future. He can still admit that he was wrong and apologize. This wouldn't stop the backlash anytime soon, but some people will recognize his attempt to correct his mistake and start supporting him again, allowing him to eventually build a solid fan base once again. Or he can continue down the path he's already going, stay firm on his stance, and eventually turn into the perpetual lolcow of the internet, where the only time someone remembers him is to make fun of him. Of course, he could also try to make a comeback in the future and fail miserably, just like the Liver King. Click the video on screen to find out more.
Yeah, he could make a comeback. Absolutely, we've seen it before. Absolutely, he can make a comeback. We've seen people that have basically gone to the basement and they have been able to dig themselves out. Whether or not Thor can do it, I don't know. I just don't know.